I know this is an unexpected video, but I want to talk about Liberty Falls on Black Ops 6. And the reason why I want to talk about it is specifically the rooftop. Now, there is gameplay here that I started recording around 33, it was during a Vermin round, but this is heavily cheesed. Now, I understand if this is for, XP, grinding and whatnot, but for core high rounders like me, I really would like if there was extra spawns. And the reason why I was saying that is because it just takes an awful long time, and I want there to be more moving around, because once Super Spreader spawns, then yes, that fixes the solution, but I'm talking about before Super Sprinters. Now, they could add more spawns to the zombies, like increase the zombie counter, and make this as a heavy change, because this is not camping, but I just wish that you prevent this type of cheese. Now, I completely understand that this is for XP grinding, whatnot, and camo grinding. I completely understand. But I would love if there's more spawns, because there was more spawns in Terminus, the Tomb, Shattered Veil, and Citadel de Mort. It's just Liberty Falls that has less spawns than any other map. Now, I get it, for PC users, this crashes a lot. This game specifically. That's why you go on console. But there's just a lot of things that this could also have different changes. Now, I'm not going to be talking about just the rooftop. I want to talk about the weapons and where this is going. And then possibly talk about the new season once it comes out. But I want to talk about that just a little bit later. I just want to talk about these two specific topics because this is just my opinion. I didn't want to talk about it in the beginning because I wanted to craft my opinion, just wanted to think about it just a little bit more. I've been thinking about this for the past 3 days. And I would love this more spawns. And the reason why I say this is, like I said before, there was, more spawns than, most of the maps, but not this one. What I want Treyarch to do, this is just my opinion alone, is add more spawns in Liberty Falls. Because if you went to the bowling alley, you can have a lot of spawns there. But it's just the rooftop, it takes forever. And it's just for the early rounds too, and that's why I don't like it. I would love if there was more spawns. Now, of course, I could have opened the door on the side, but I don't know if my team wanted me to open that door, so I didn't want to open the door on the rooftop. But besides that, there needs to be more spawns. It just takes a little bit forever, and I'm not saying it's because of speed. It's just that way how they climb is ridiculous. And I would love if they actually jump to the roof instead of climbing it. Let me give you an example. For those who have not played Black Ops 2 because of the newer generation, us as old, I wouldn't say old timers, but old core players, before this game came out, before Cold War came out, before Black Ops 3 came out, there was Black Ops 2. And there was, transit. What would happen is, if you went on the top of the roof of Diner, the zombies would jump up. Now, of course, the bank is taller, but I want them to actually jump. So when it comes to the Super Sprinters, I want them to actually jump. Or the runner zombies to jump. The walkers, it would make sense if they just walk, climb there. Kind of climb the walls. But for the sprinters and super sprinters, I just want them to jump on the roof. It gives us extra time. So you can go jump up there, and it gets there, and you can easily put out more of this. The next thing that leads on to this is, I'm sorry if my voice is cutting out. I'm trying to be quiet. It's like, currently the time that I'm recording this is 1:36 a.m. so I'm trying to be quiet as possible. But, you know, I want to talk about the ray gun on this. The ray gun does need more damage because you have the ray gun Mark II. Never used it yet, but I've seen videos of it that has extra damage. If the saw blade launcher, whatever you want to call it, does more damage, then so would the ray gun. It should have more damage. Only against armor damage, so you can get rid of the manglers faster, the armored zombies faster. And I just want the ray gun to shoot a little bit more faster. It's a bit slow. Now, of course, yes, you can add double tap, but let's say you don't have double tap. This will make it completely... I wouldn't say useless, it's just unbearable. The next thing I want to talk about, because I will be going back and forth on each topic, is the Rampage Inducer. I bloody hate this thing for one reason. It gets abused a lot. And the reason why I say it gets abused a lot is because, in my experience, I've been playing a lot of lobbies that people turn this on, and most time I get blamed for it. Like, I wanted to revive one of the players, and they typed nice. They think it was they just point the blame at me. I'm not the one who turned it on. And for other players, they turn it on. Like, it's not the same player, but different players turn it on. Of the Rampage Inducer. And it just creates utter hell. Our guns are not as powerful to get rid of them. Even if it's round 1. People forget that when you turn on the Rampage Inducer, it slightly amps the health and it gives them more strength, and we're not used to that very much. We're not used to the damage that, you know, that comes from later on the game, right around 40. Now, I completely understand you guys, that if you want to turn on the Rampage Inducer, that's fine. It's just, it gets bloody annoying. The one thing I would desperately change is make a Rampage Inducer an Easter egg for some maps, so it's not just everywhere, and it doesn't get abused a lot. The reason why I want to make it like Easter egg for some maps is because if they want to do this part of the Easter egg for Rampage Inducer, all the teams can agree and do it that way. Now, of course, people can talk about it in voice chat and whatnot. Even that, some players don't want to use their Rampage Inducer because some players are beginners, and yeah, I completely understand for beginners because this game doesn't have a proper tutorial mode. I can care less what anybody says on this part. There's no proper tutorial mode. I'll have to give Black Ops 4 some credit because of one thing. On Black Ops 4 Zombies, there was a tutorial mode of how to play the game. And it actually helped a little bit for beginner zombie players how to play. Directed mode does absolutely nothing. It has not taught me anything. It's only maxes, like, I think the rounds are around 15, that's it. And it doesn't help anybody. It only, like, from, at least from me specifically, I'm saying from my experience. But when I say it doesn't help anybody, I've seen newer players come onto there, and I assume directed mode does nothing. Treyarch, one thing that you should do is for directed mode, add tutorial tips for directed mode. So it says, oh, this does this, or this does that. This is what this is, and this talks about the Easter egg for that said map, etc. Just little things that goes a long way. Because, in my opinion, little things go a long way than bigger things. And, you know, it can help out a lot. I mean, I've been using this method for a very long time. Just little things help a lot. And even if it doesn't really do much, it still helps slightly. And over time, it will help more. But back with this. The Rampage Inducer needs to be turned into an Easter egg for some maps, so it doesn't get abused a lot. If it wasn't being used a lot by a lot of players, and this only talks about my experience with other things, so please do bear in mind. I wouldn't mind it, but it does get annoying. Back with the spawns for this, I want to talk about grief mode. So if you haven't seen the latest news for Black Ops 6, there is supposedly a new grief mode coming out. It's not exactly new. It came out from Black Ops 2, and it was basically a player versus player but in the zombies format. There's a lot of changes. I like these changes. I enjoy grief mode. It's just very lackluster during its time. But I understand why. It's just a lot here, and Season 4 actually might be very interesting. We see a rival coming back. I forgot his name, so put in the comments. You get to see the name there. If some people do put it in the comments. I'm not making this just a bitch about everything. It's just I wanted to explain it here. Let's get out of my chest and hopefully synchronizes with you guys too, because I like creating things that maybe everybody can agree or disagree with and add it as their opinion. This channel is a safe space for everybody, and I just wanted to share a lot of the things. With Season 4, I don't know where this will lead. Apparently Shatterblast is coming back. This did a lot of damage when you use it as an ammo mod. Now, of course, if you want to see these updates, you can actually go on the Call of Duty website and check yourself. Because I won't talk about everything from here. I just want to talk about the specific things that caught my eye. Excuse me. With this grief mode, there's supposed to be pros and cons from both teams. Apparently Team Richtofen and Team Sam. That's going to be a very interesting concept. I just don't understand why is it like represented on Shattered VO, if that makes sense. Is it only going to be on Shattered VO, or is it only going to be on, or is it going to be on like every map? That I don't know, but I hope there's a lot of things will be added there because I want there to be big changes. It's just the spawns mainly for Liberty Falls needs to be more and spawn more to more of the zombie counter, and just make it where this on the rooftop right here, showing evidence here, that it isn't being cheesed whatsoever. Now, of course, when the Super Sprinter comes in, that is where it becomes a big issue. But it's just without the Super Sprinters, this is just being cheesed. Now, I want to talk about parts of the weapons. And when I say I'll make them slightly stronger, not like Cold War strong, just strong enough. There's some guns on this game that barely do any damage. And that just kind of irritates me a little bit. The nail gun's perfect. It's just some of the melee weapons are kind of dog crap. It's dog poo in my opinion. A lot of these are interesting. Oh yeah, we're also getting like a pickaxe or another weapon. Speaking on that. There needs to be more shotguns. And apparently Olympia's coming back. But there needs to be more shotguns. Because there's more assault rifles and tactical weapons and melees more than shotguns, launchers, and specials. But the one weapon that they desperately need to bring back, I would love if they do it, is the Remington new Model Army. I think that would be a really fun feature, especially for this game. I think it will be a really interesting idea, because this game is balanced overall. It just needs to be with more weapons, and slightly do more damage for some guns. Now, I'm sorry for sniper users, but if you love using snipers and you don't like the aim down sight time, don't use it unless you have really good patience like me. Speaking of that, change the aim down sight time to be faster. To give reason, on town in Black Ops 2, there is a DSR-50 or Barrett, and the aim down sight time doesn't take forever. It takes a little bit average time of a few seconds. This one feels like it's taking 30 years to aim down. And I just don't understand why they did this in the first place. They need to bring that back, where you can aim down in a sniper without problem. Without any problem, without any slow aim down sight time. I don't care what excuse it may lead to, and you bring it back. It's my opinion. There also needs to be more replayability with this game, because this game is lovely. I love this game. Cold War and this is a lovely creation. There just needs to be more replayability though. There needs to be a lot more things to make players come back and play more. Not just like camo grinding and then be done with it. There needs to be more things with it. And if you also come out with game modes that are only available when I see them, make it permanent for all players to use. Like Cranked, for instance. When Cowabunga Cranked came out, because you know, Teenage Mutant Turtles event, make it as a permanent mode. So not players just come back and see it not there. There's a lot of players who love playing Cranked. And, you know, it gives you know, time and it doesn't take very long. Because the moment you shoot a zombie, you have these amount of seconds left. And those players love playing that specific mode. I would know this because I played Cold War and they played it at the time. I don't know if they still do it now, but they loved playing it. There was a lot of players playing it. And people on Cold War still played that today. People still play Black Ops 3 today. And that's what shocks me. These lovely masterpieces are still being played today. And that's what makes me happy. If a game is being made so perfectly, that is where the replay value stands. I think Treyarch could do a lot more things with this game. This game is a really, really big masterpiece. But there's a lot of things wrong with it. Obviously, because per season's gonna have problems. But I think they can bring back old weapons and put it into this game, old maps put into this game, because I want to see town return. I want to have town return. I know Liberty Falls is an upgraded version of town, yada yada yada, we get it, and it's much bigger. But then you bring town back, and you bring diner back, and you bring farm back, and the reason these maps existed during its time because these were called survival maps. These were bare bones. Because a lot of people who played farm at the time for Black Ops 2, it was bare bones. You had the weapons, you wouldn't take it for granted, and you just play. With this game, since the weapons are powerful enough, you would use these on these maps. Now, of course, Pack-a-Punch would be available, if they added the map or not. Now, of course, they'll also add Wonder Fizz, because you know, certain rounds, like round 25, they'll add it there. That will probably be a guarantee. But, bring back bare bone maps. I want to see Zombie Chronicles return. And the Zombie Chronicles part excited me back in the day on Black Ops 3. Because you had these nostalgia maps. There was so much creativity there. And I love that. I love when a masterpiece brings it together. Not only because of the experience, but also the gameplay and how the game performs is what makes something a big masterpiece. I want to see that return. I want to see Zombie Chronicles return. Bring back Nocturne Totem, bring back Verupt, and bring back Shinonuma. Bring back all the nostalgic maps. Put it to this game. I know Treyarch can do it. I know they can. It just really depends if they just wait, if they do plan to do it. I want to see, these maps return. And possibly, I'm only saying this because I know some people also love Transit. Bring Transit back and put it into this format. Hear me out. Hear me out before you flip out and put in the comments. Hear me out. I understand Transit had a lot of issues. I understand. But if you add it in this game, it wouldn't be as bad. It would not be as bad. You'll be running around a lot. You had to run around regardless. And you would be using weapons that's from a newer game. That is not as bad. Now, of course, you have the denizens. You have a lot of things that's just added from that map. But if you added Transit to this game, it will make more sense. Now, of course, replace the denizens with something else. Or take out the denizens and add the HVTs, add the special zombies, and add the elites as well. That will make it balanced. It will basically be Outbreak, but bringing back the OG gameplay. Also, what Treyarch needs to do is make a separate game mode old point system. For those who are unaware, has not played the old Call of Duty system, points per shot is what you can get easy points. If you added that to Liberty Falls, for instance, or let's say if you had a separate game mode and play on these, you would be buying the entire map without any form of issue. Now, of course, there has to be a lot of effort. Of course, this game is a fixed point system, but I think seeing the old point system return might make it interesting as a separate mode. So it wouldn't create any form of issue of changing everything. It would just be in a separate game mode. Now, of course, I don't know how coding works, but I'm just saying my opinion on what might be interesting. Of course, these are all ideal, but I think these are good ideas. And bringing back Transit, if you bring back Transit, bring back Buried as well. Now, of course, I'm not saying bring back every zombies map. I'm saying the popular maps during its time. Because I know Transit was popular, so was Buried. I'm not going to talk about Die Rise. People hated it. But I was saying people, as in general, because from videos I've seen, people hated it. I didn't mind Die Rise, because I didn't really care about the Easter egg much. I just played the game and didn't really care. But if you added these maps, I think it would be an interesting way to put it. Now, of course, with the Zombie Chronicles part, I don't know if you get the guys, the Treyarch were adding a story to them. But for the Zombie Chronicles part, or at least incorporate Zombie Chronicles with a different story, or add this story here, but add it with the Zombies Chronicles. But it really depends how they would put it, but I think it would be an interesting idea. And if you guys have any suggestions for what Treyarch should bring back, put it in the comments. Now, it's just a lot of issues with this game currently. And what I mean by issues, not because of the damage of the weapons, on some weapons because they're complete dog crap, but it's just, there's one thing that needs to be changed just a tad bit, is the melee weapons. The melee weapons need to have more damage. And I'm gonna say this, but have the melee weapons do more damage, as I said, but also make it work for each stab, like you did in Cold War, get more health. I know it's in Melee Macchiato, but add that to the melee weapons anyway. So each stab, you're still getting more health, at least. Because I know the nunchucks will have the nunchucks are interesting. But if that was incorporated into this game, that would make it really interesting for a different gameplay. With Season 4 coming out, I'm interested. Because, as I said earlier in this video, Grief is coming back, and it's going to be interesting how the game is going to perform. Because it's going to be interesting for both players, and eventually the one team is going to lose and one team is going to win. But I want to see how it really will go. And I had a lot of great memories about this game mode back in the day. And it's just amazing to see this come back. What has it been, like 10 or 13 years? And this game was kind of forgotten. And now it's coming back. Apparently the Dark Ops challenges are going to be coming back as well. I just don't know what else to add here. So, why was this video being made? Is the question that you guys might be wondering. Well, these are the things I've been thinking about. And I wanted to share my ideas. I wanted to share my concerns, but also share a lot of things that could have potential changes and what could be effective to some people who might enjoy it or might not enjoy it. Because, as I said earlier, some people play this game to camo grind and get a lot of XP. And once that's finished, they probably turn it off and not touch it. That's what bothers me. Is nowadays this game's putting it to that standpoint. It's getting to that, and we don't see some players return. As you can see here, this is a high round gameplay, and I want to have more of that, and have returning players return. That's why I mentioned about the old point system, and other things. Let's talk about the perks. There's one perk that needs to return, and it would be very effective in this format, is Bandolier Bandit. I believe this is the perk name. If you guys don't know what that perk is when you drink the perk, you actually have more ammo in your stock. This makes it very effective, because sometimes you summon your guns needed it. And when your weapon needed this exact more ammo, like hence the ray gun or the ray gun Mark II, etc., this make it effective for your gameplay, and that would be lovely. I want to talk about my concerns with this game just a little bit more before it ends, because I want to bring this to you guys' attention. This game is going to have some issues later down the line. And that concerns me a lot. Because as I said it before, people leave the game and not touch it after doing their camo grinds and things like that. That kind of bothers me, you know? As a core zombies player, this bothers me. Because you want to enjoy the game. The game that you purchased, what was this, like $60 or $70? Something like that? That's kind of wasted if you just leave it alone and not touch it. And that's what's gonna bother me the most. Because back in my time, when I played, this is when I was a little kid, I played this game. People were still, not this exact game, but this didn't come out back then. But Call of Duty Zombies, everybody was playing it, and you actually had a team. Of course, some of them didn't cooperate, but you still had a team. Some left the game, which they should not leave any form of game if you're in it. My rule, when I play these exact games, is when you play it to the very end. Then you can do whatever after. But if it's still continuing, don't leave the game. The next concern I want to talk about is how short the story is going. So when I say short, is if we look in Cold War, there wasn't much story. The story brings everything together. Why it felt important. Why it felt exciting, and it motivated you to understand the next story coming up. And Cold War, yes, it had interesting concepts, but the reason why it was short is because it led to Outbreak, and that's what made it very short. With a story with this, I don't want them to end the story early, because this was in 4-year development. If it's 4 years development, don't end the story early. Continue the story. Where it might lead to next. Sure, it might lead to a different boss or different things, but that will make it exciting. There needs to be some excitement coming back to the players and make it feel like it's more earned than just lost. And that's my concern. I love this game. I do. It's just when that excitement goes away, you can't replicate that excitement. You can't. That's just not possible. You cannot replicate that. And nowadays, you have these games, like for instance, I'm gonna name some games. You have Fortnite, you have Warzone, you have these. These games have excitement to them in some degree, and you have some frustrations. But they don't have a story. And when you have a story that brings it together and why the game is there, because the story is the theme of the game. And that what brought a lot of players together to understand the story and made everything felt worth it. Like, for instance, Black Ops 4 may have been delayed for a long time before the other maps came out, but the story was amazing. All in total, the story was amazing, and that's what brought excitement. You know, some people cried on stream or recordings because how beautiful the story was and how sad it went for the story. And that should be brought to this. That should be brought to Black Ops 6. Because that was kind of not it with Cold War. The story could have more excitement and have more replayability, and why the game felt important for a reason, for the story. Now, of course, you have a campaign, and you have zombies. Because multiplayer, there's no story. But those have a reason. Those have a reason why it was made in the first place. You know, back in 2008 when World of War came out, zombies didn't have a story, but it was fun to play. And that's where this led to. Why it was made and it continued. Those are overall my concerns. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know it's an unexpected video and why it took a sudden turn, but if you guys understand where I'm coming from with this, comment down below and add your own ideas. And maybe add your concerns as well and what you think could be changed. Thank you guys so much for watching. Subscribe if you want to on this channel. And join the family. See you guys next time.